behind us. It was laid out in 1847 for local ministers, and as you know, ministers are not millionaires. They're very poorly paid most of the time. Each church bought lots to bury their pastors and their wives, so they would have a place to go. One of the ministers buried here is the Rev Sullivan, who was the pastor for Wall Street Methodist Church and chaplain at the old state prison in Jeff. For years before and during the Civil War, he cared for the prisoners and tried to get the warden and guards to treat them better. We will have an exhibit on the old state prison. Most of it will have to be done on monitor since we're short of space in the museum. And there was a book written in the 1860s with illustrations of the prisoners and other people there. And they talk about the Reverend Sullivan in this book. And the conditions were horrible. These people were beaten almost to death. When they got food, a lot of it, like one of the dishes they got a lot was tomatoes in tomato juice, and it had dead flies in it. And they had to eat it. The African Americans who were prisoners at the prison were always in the back of the line, so they got to eat last. So no telling what the food was like that they got to eat. If you did a job at the prison, you were not taught an avocation. You were expected to do one thing. For example, if you worked in the foundry and they needed iron to be carried in, iron bars, they were stacked outside, and you carried in the iron bars. That's all you ever did. You never learned how to make anything so that when you got out of the prison, you'd be able to get employment. These people were beaten. There were women there. I need not say what happened to them, but that was all brought to a close by a woman who decided not to have an abortion. And people began to wonder how this could happen. After all, she's in prison. Well, the only people that had access to her was the warden and the guards. True story. She had the baby. The Quakers in Indiana flipped out, and they got the state prison commission to come down and examine the prison, and they found out what had been going on there. The women were immediately removed from the prison and sent to a prison up in the north. A little bit later, the older men were all removed and sent north.